I know you're a woman who spends a lot of time on a plane and in your various hubs,
Yeah.
whether it be in India, Asia, London, Glasgow, you were just telling me behind the scenes. But give us the macro overview right now in terms of how you as a bank, how you're seeing other banks really getting ahead in terms of the digital innovation and adopting of the cloud. Where are we in the evolution?
Yeah, so it's actually a great time because every one of our businesses is transforming. Everybody's going through a digital transformation from consumer and how we're bringing the products and services to consumers through our Chase brands, all the way up to the wholesale businesses. We process $6 trillion a day, and how we think about that payments ecosystem.
$6 trillion.
$6 trillion. So how we bring innovation to an ecosystem that's existed for a long period of time. And so it starts with us thinking about how we bring unique customer and client experiences and really driving that. And it's actually, lately we've been pivoting a lot to thinking about employee experiences too. We really believe the more we can enable our employees with technology, they can serve our customers even better. And so we're thinking about that domain a lot too. Of course, at the heart of it is how we build resilient and scalable infrastructure. If you think about the size of our bank and the assets we have, 50% of US households, the amount of money that we move, we have to have resilient, scalable infrastructure. And that for us is a hybrid cloud strategy. And that means we do process on-prem, but we also are really leveraging the public cloud for innovation to deliver on that agenda. Finally, for us, there's a lot of leverage of data in an ecosystem like that. And foundational for us is protecting our clients, our customers. And so the investments around that we make in data privacy protection and security.
So before we get on to privacy and security, and that's notable given the poll that we just ran, security is one of the number one risks. But I like the way that you talk about talent and employees, engaging them there. The scale of what you help run is phenomenal. You're just saying 6 trillion of money moving. But in terms of how tech talent you need to fight for, I mean, how many technologists do you have? How big is that compared to some of the other key tech companies?
Yeah, so we have 53,000 technologists at JPMorgan Chase, and we spend about $11.6 billion in technology. So it really is the size of technology, some of the technology companies. And so when you think about the talent that we have to go after, retain, et cetera, we think about it in two dimensions. For us, it's not just you hire and you look at a lot of technologists that can help you apply a technology to solve a business problem, many of the ones that I talked about. But we are also innovating. So we've created a lot in the blockchain space or the work we're doing in AI and ML. And so it's also important that we have technologists that can help us think about what are the next iterations of technology in those domains. So we think about it broadly in terms of how do we get the top software engineering talent? How do we create an environment that allows them to create value? And then how do we create a working environment that engages them so they engage? Because we obviously have a lot of tough, challenging problems, and technologists like to work on tough problems.
So how, first of all, do you market yourself as the go-to rather than I've just come out of university or I'm looking for a new role? Facebook looks interesting. Google looks interesting.
Yeah.
JPMorgan looks interesting. How have you got your name and rise above the noise?
We have definitely had to spend a lot more energy in helping people understand the work that we have inside the bank. Inside the bank, the number of technology challenges that we have, the leading technologies that we use. So a lot of it is telling our story, both on campus, but where engineers are, whether it's the GitHubs of the world, or and really talking about our stories. But beyond that, I think a lot of it is, too, when people understand the innovation that we're driving, whether it's in the AI machine learning space, that's a problem that they're attracted to.
How do you then retain that talent?
So I think the thing that we've really pivoted our focus to, and it focuses a lot on the engineer experience, when you think about the top drivers for a software engineer, what are the things that keep them engaged? They want to work on really hard problems. They want to work in a culture that allows them flexibility in work in collaborative teams, be exposed to clients, customers, the business, the product owners, and they want to be in a place where they can continuously learn. So when you think about those core dimensions, there's lots of things that you do in the environments and the spaces, but those are really the key drivers. So we have a lot of hard challenges. So how we get our best and brightest talent engaged on our toughest problems. how do we make sure that we're embedding continuous learning in everything they do? It's not about going to a training class, but really engaging them, because technology of all things has continuously changed. We're changing every layer of our technology stack, so how do we do that? And finally, there's been a lot of automation that's being built into how you deliver software, how you deliver infrastructure. So if we want to attract the top software engineers and keep them, when they're inside JPMorgan, we've put a tremendous focus on that experience and the automation of that experience, so they can focus on solving the problems, not just getting their work done.
So is a lot of it about also reskilling those that you currently have?
Yeah, so reskilling for us, really it's an issue. Reskilling and upskilling is true for anybody these days, with the amount of things we're seeing, the amount of technologies that are really changing what the work of the future really is. And so for us, it's a constant reskilling. So a couple of ways we do that is we're actually embedding in-context learning. So if I'm a software engineer working on a problem, as I'm doing that, things that'll pop up and tell me, hey, if you want to learn more about the right way to do it, here's a lab you can take. Here's some training that you can take. The other thing we commit to is in all of our major technology centers, we do this program called Power Up. And so our technologists can power up.
I like the name.
It's a 3-day immersive program where they do labs on public and private cloud. The latest, we bring experts into them. And so that's a way that they can just re-engage, and it also supports our commitment to continuous learning.
And we sit here both as two women, but diversity, I assume, is also something you focused on within the talent that you recruit in technology?
Diversity and inclusion is really an important part, and I'm proud to say that in all dimensions of diversity, we've improved our numbers, both from attraction, retention, and promotion. This year was the highest, the year we had the most females promoted in our managing director class in technology. And so, but it's something you have to work hard at, because we know the pool is that only 18% of graduates in computer science in the US are women.
Yeah.
And so when we think about attracting and retaining, this is where you have to get creative and think about alternative pipelines. One program we created was a program called Tech Connect. If I have a woman that's come through college and she has the aptitude to be in technology but doesn't know how to code, we've created a program called Tech Connect where we put them through a coding boot camp before they then enter our software engineering program. So it's been an interesting way to tap into alternative pipelines, and our success rates in those programs are as high. If somebody has the courage to think about taking on a career as a software engineer, they generally have the courage to be successful in their job.
I like the way you say that. So the 53,000, you said, technologists that you've got them in place, you've got the right talent, you feel that you're retaining them. What is, therefore, the key challenge first that you're looking at when it comes to, say, the cloud use that you're using in JPMorgan? We can look at opportunities as well, but how you, for example, thinking and ensuring that security not only is a box you're ticking, but actually one that your customer base, the businesses that you work with, know that you're the standout.
Yeah, I know. Ours is a business of trust. We have prided ourselves on protecting our clients and customers for many years, the data privacy protection. And so for us, that carries through the cloud. I think the way we've had to think about it, and we've learned along the way. When we first started to approach the cloud, we thought about, because we have a very strong cybersecurity team, and even our own team in controls. And so when we first started to think about it, we looked at it similar to the problems we were trying to face on premise. And then we quickly realized you have to do a paradigm shift. It doesn't mean that the principles that you're trying to protect change, but the way you implement them. And so one of the things that we did is we had to hire some talent in this space. And so we went to Seattle.
It all goes back to talent, doesn't it?
It does. It really does, because you can't just look at a software engineer. There are very specialized skill sets. So we went to Seattle. We opened a hub. The head of our cloud security engineering team is in Seattle. He built an incredibly talented team. We can partner with those cloud providers. That's where they sit very easily and in person. And it was a different way and a different mindset. So for us, the important thing to remember on the cloud is it is a shared responsibility model. A lot of the issues that we see are on companies consuming from public cloud, not having the right pieces in place where they have to protect. The way we're designing it is actually to our new standard of security because it constantly continues to evolve. So you have to know what's running. You have to know that it's the configuration that you set. You have to be able to detect if there's an anomaly, and then you have to be able to. So there's been a significant amount of innovation where we work with emerging tech companies in the security space that is embedded into our overall public cloud, hybrid cloud strategy.
Because it's interesting, Brad there was talking about how this is a moment where we can see more collaboration because there are these neutral zones that have been created by cloud, but equally there's collaboration between the providers themselves, whether it's you're using Microsoft or Amazon or IBM, whoever it might be. How do you find that provision from those that are offering you a number of clouds, I'm sure?
I would say it's definitely changed over the last year. And it continues to get better. I was just out in Silicon Valley a few weeks ago, and everybody understands that big, large multinationals. It's different depending on what kind of company you are, what your business is. But for us and other big multinationals, especially in regulated industries, we need to support a hybrid cloud strategy. If you just look at the size of the infrastructure we support, it's one of the top infrastructure providers, and so. It's really been important that they understand that there's enough pie for everybody, and that what's really happened is that and it really drives the right experience and competition. And so what's really happened is we've seen a lot of emerging capabilities that really support a hybrid cloud an approach, because a lot of big players are still going to think about, at least in the short term, some on-prem and some public cloud. And again, it's different depending on the size of the company and the scale and the work that you're moving.
Talking of emerging capabilities, what about emerging technologies that you're being able to create, emerging products that JPMorgan is able to offer because of the embroilment within cloud and the fact that you've taken it on so deeply?
One I would highlight, because it's going to be a big difference maker for us, is we are very much invested in really scaling up AI and machine learning at JPMorgan Chase. And so when you think about our ability to build a platform, and we have some incredible talent that has helped us build a platform that data scientists can leverage and scale. But when we're doing the training, think about the size of our data. When we're doing a training of a model, we want to spin up that compute power and dial it down. And so what we've really been doing, and that speeds innovation. So if you think about data scientists, same thing like a software engineer, you want them spending the majority of their time actually solving problems and looking for the needle in the haystack in the data. So what we continuously think about, and through the power of the public cloud, we've been able to build a platform that has allowed us to really have a data scientist take a look at, connect into their core capabilities, get access to data services easily, and then when they want to train that model, they're seamlessly integrating with the public cloud, and they don't necessarily even know that they're doing that. Allows them to train their model. We're building capabilities to do servicing of the model, but that really helps us scale AI and machine learning, which for us is really going to be woven into every part of our business, from risk and control to servicing our consumers to new sources of revenue.
How would it be with new sources of revenue?
So when you think about new sources of revenue, the intelligence or the productivity you can build into, whether it's a trader, and how do you optimize products and services that we may want to sell. So you can see insights in data that help us identify what are the next generation products and services that we want to sell. If we can make the engagement model on the consumer side that much more, where here's offers that are very relevant to you, those can help us think about new sources of revenue.
Do you think, because I hear it time and time again, we hear it in Jamie's letters that he writes to his investor base each year, really it felt at one point, I think he used the term and phrase like the fintechs are coming. You realized, JPMorgan realized it was a technology business perhaps before other banks did. Do you think everyone else has got it now? Do you feel that really the competition is fierce among the big banks as well as some of the newer players?
I do think every large bank understands that at the core of every business, there is a digital transformation underway. I do think as you look at some of the players, they're looking at ways to get into new businesses where we have broad scale across consumer and wholesale. Others are trying to expand. Technology allows you to do that in a different way than you would have done historically. So I think everybody's looking at what are we doing to serve customers better, consumers and wholesale clients. So I do think pretty much. But one thing is strategy. The hard part is execution. And at the end of the day, it comes down to the talent and your ability to execute upon those strategies. And so that's why we have taken a very particular focus on how do we drive automation in this space and how do we really go after top talent. So for example, in AI, we were able to get Aporo Saxena, who came from Google, who helped us build that platform I talked about, or Manuela Velosa on the AI research side out of Carnegie Mellon that helps us think about where is AI going in the future. Those are, again, at the end of the day, that type of talent is helping us really advance our AI machine learning agenda.
And given that you are so geographically broad, how are you finding that talent or indeed the culture being able to be maintained wherever you are, whether you are in Glasgow, Hyderabad, or Seattle?
I think for us, there is a core premise of what it's like to be at JPMorgan. The focus on clients and customers, the focus on community, that resonates across the globe. It's so exciting when I went to our tech hub in Glasgow to see the incredible applications they're working on for a nonprofit like Save the Children, so I think that's core. I think the thing that we've appreciated is there's the core principles of how we do business at JPMorgan Chase. That has to be across. But the way it's executed and the way we say, how do we celebrate the cultures and the diversity of even our geographic locations, I think when you can bring that together, it actually, so that there's that local community feel, but you're connected into this broader company, I think that's what really makes a difference.
One thing that keeps you up at night? What's the one thing when you lie down you think, oh, I really hope that doesn't?
Usually when I go to sleep, I'm so tired that
you don't even think.
I'm sleeping. But to me, there's so much change going on. Cybersecurity is always top of mind for us. I think you've even heard us talk about that's one of the biggest threats industries, banks. And so we do a lot of work in that space, working with all the regulators and the governments, et cetera, in that space. But if you really think about the things that I've talked about, everything is changing. And so a relentless focus around how we execute and deliver and get the right talent, those are the differentiators in terms of executing your strategy.
And one thing that makes you really excited?
I'm so excited about, we do have incredible talent. I see the potential of where we can do better in terms of even serving our consumers. On the wholesale side, there are so many opportunities as wealth management digitalizes and we can bring some of those capabilities to the consumer, such as you invest, those types of products. I think there are so many opportunities for us to leverage the great assets that we have and through technology and digital transformation. It's interesting, when we launch a new product, we can scale it quickly. And so I'm just really excited about the opportunities we have to continue to serve our clients and consumers for the future.
Well, Laurie Beer, we hope that you, every time you put your head on the pillow, remain able to sleep immediately. It's been wonderful hearing from you. Thank you so much. It's the CIO JPMorgan Chase. Thank you for spending the time with us.
Thank you.